On an expedition in search of the flower that grants eternal life, a group of scientists faces an accident that propels them into the territory of anacondas, unleashing a battle for survival against the giant snakes. Hey guys, I'm Emily, and in today's nerd session, we'll recap the 2004 film Anacondas: The Hunt for the Blood Orchid. But before we dive in, it's crucial that you subscribe and hit the like button since the channel is new and needs your support to grow. Now, without further ado, let's get to the video. In the dense jungles of Borneo, a group of natives searching for a tiger notices the unusual agitation of the animals around them. Ignoring the signs, they continue their hunt, only to be surprised by the feline that leaps at them, revealing an even greater threat, a gigantic anaconda in pursuit. One of the natives, in an attempt to escape, is captured by the snake but manages to free himself temporarily by thrusting his blade into the creature. However, upon falling into a pond, he becomes an easy prey and is devoured by the anaconda. Meanwhile, at WH headquarters in New York, the company leaders convene a meeting with the research team, deciding to terminate funding due to a lack of progress. Jack and Mitchell, however, reveal that they have secured substantial funds and are focused on studying the blood orchid, a native flower of Borneo that blooms every 7 years, staying alive for only 6 weeks. At its peak, this orchid has the ability to extend cellular life by over 50 times, making it ideal for creating a youth renewal capsule. Intrigued by the commercial potential, the CEO asks if human tests have been conducted, but Jack responds that they need more orchids before starting clinical trials since the obtained sample decomposed rapidly, having been collected just a week before the end of the flowering season. With renewed interest, the leaders authorize an expedition to Borneo, and with the funding, Jack and Mitchell assemble a team of researchers and head to Indonesia for the collection. However, upon arrival, they discover it's the rainy season. Unable to navigate on their own, they try to hire a transport company, but all refuse due to the storm. Sam's suggestion to hire a local captain is the solution, and desperate, they head to a bar frequented by a known fisherman. They initially offer $25,000 for the trip, but Bill, the only one willing to face the river in the rain, demands $50,000 to accept. With no alternatives, Mitchell accepts the proposal and gathers the team to embark. Alongside Captain Bill and his assistant Tran, they set off towards the location on the map where the explorers found the first orchid. However, Bill realizes that the route they likely took is probably flooded and suggests proceeding with caution to assess the path. Cole, the team's geographer, checks his computer and identifies a more viable alternative. Now with the route defined, Bill goes upstream while the scientists try to communicate with the company to report their situation. However, due to the intense rain, the signal begins to fail, leaving them completely incommunicado. And with no options, the group spends the day navigating until dinner time. Upon seeing the food on the table, Kong, Bill's pet monkey, tries to resist the bananas but is shooed away by Bill. He decides to go to the roof of the boat to pick fruits from the trees. Unaware that his pet was in the trees, the captain keeps the boat moving, and Kong ends up being left behind. The monkey, in turn, is startled by a giant snake that initiates a chase. Afraid, Kong takes refuge inside a log, hoping to escape the snake's attention, but the anaconda locates him, forcing the monkey to climb a tree, slowly followed by the serpent. From inside the boat, Bill hears cries of distress without realizing they belong to Kong, only noticing the absence of the animal the next morning. While he searches for the monkey, Gail, the researcher, checks if the communication signal has returned but accidentally falls into the river. To save her, Sam orders Tran to slow down the boat, and everyone rushes to the back to help. But before they can carry out the rescue, blood in the water attracts the attention of a crocodile, forcing Bill to jump into the water to rescue her. With his help, Gail returns to the ship, and the captain faces the crocodile, stabbing its eyes, while Tran aims with the rifle, unable to shoot to avoid hitting his captain. The crocodile starts to perform the death roll and sinks with Bill. Tense moments follow until Bill emerges safe and sound, pulling his knife from the now lifeless crocodile's head. Returning to the boat as a true hero, everyone gathers at the table while Ben stitches up Gail's arm. However, unaware of the imminent danger, the giant snake appears stealthily behind them. But while they are distracted, Kong suddenly falls in the middle of the group, causing a widespread scare. After calming his monkey, Bill approaches Jack and asks to talk privately. In the cabin, the captain warns about the rising river level, indicating the need to take another route, which will result in a 2-day delay in the journey. However, Jack offers an additional $50,000 for Bill to ignore the risks and proceed with the original plan. Despite the agreement, the captain leaves Tran in charge and goes to rest. However, at dawn, he realizes that logs in the water damaged the rudder, and while trying to fix the boat, Bill notices that the propeller is stuck, resulting in the loss of the planned detour and leading them towards a waterfall. Unable to avoid the catastrophe, the boat is swept away by the current and destroyed in the fall. Adrift, the captain orders them to swim towards the shore, unaware that the anaconda is approaching, nearly devouring Sam. But at the last second, she manages to get out of the water. With the boat destroyed, the survivors check the remaining equipment and find only one miraculously available phone signal. Aware that the closest patrol will take days to reach them, Bill decides to call a friend who sails in the region and arrange a meeting point on the shore a few kilometers ahead. He informs them that by bypassing the waters, it would take 2 days to reach the rescue point, but by cutting through the jungle, they would arrive before nightfall. Despite the risks, the group agrees, and Bill calls his friend John to coordinate the meeting point. With the plan in place, the captain ends the call and leads the group through the jungle until they reach the edge of a river. With no option to go around, Bill decides to wade through on foot, taking the scientists with him, unaware that the anaconda is already swimming around. Cole feels something pass between his legs, alerting the group, but Bill believes it's just a fish and recommends they keep walking. When Ben is pulled underwater, the group rushes to help him, only to discover that an anaconda attacked him. After escaping, Bill asserts that anacondas are territorial and that they won't encounter another one along the way. Optimistic, the survivors continue the journey to the boat that will take them home, but Jack and Mitchell resist, insisting on searching for the orchids before the end of the flowering season. Despite persuasion, Bill refuses, stating that after reaching the boat, the expedition is over, and their only destination is to go home. Jack, thinking about the money, proposes that they had an agreement, but Bill responds that he can keep the money because he won't take them to the orchids at all. With the clarification, Bill continues to lead the group, revealing to Sam the deal made with Jack and blaming himself for accepting the extra money and for Ben's death. Further along, as they pass through tall vegetation, Mitchell notices a giant leech on Cole's neck, and Bill uses a lighter to remove it, revealing dozens of leeches on Cole's back, feeding while Bill removes them. Meanwhile, Mitchell tends to his foot wounds and tries to put on his boot when he is interrupted by Tran, who warns about a stone spider inside the shoe. Upon learning that this creature can paralyze an adult for 2 days, Jack expresses interest in using it for his research, putting it in a jar to take to the laboratory. Not far away, John sails toward the meeting point when something hits the boat, knocking over his drink. Curious, he approaches the water, thinking it's a log, but is surprised by another anaconda that climbs onto the vessel, grabbing his leg and pulling him as he tries to hold onto the helm. The snake devours John with impressive force, accidentally reactivating the engines and causing the boat to accelerate uncontrollably, colliding with the shore. The survivors see the flames from the explosion and decide to investigate, finding the wreckage of John's boat. Believing that he was drunk and drowned, Bill asks them to search for resources in the wreckage, while Jack finds John's revolver case and decides to take it with him without telling anyone. Despite the explosion, the group finds valuable resources, with Mitchell grabbing the fuel tank and Tran discovering a bag full of flares. Tired, everyone sits down to regain energy, and Mitchell is intrigued to see the carcasses of some fish on the shore, wondering what kind of animal could have done that. Knowing the region well, Tran suggests that the natives may have been responsible for the wreckage and hints at the possibility of a village nearby. Thus, they decide to go to the village to borrow a boat and return to civilization. With this new goal, they continue walking through the forest and come across John's body, enveloped in a white substance. Upon realizing that John was expelled by an anaconda, Bill concludes that there are more snakes in the forest, suggesting that the one that devoured John is still hungry. In the midst of this digestive confusion, Gale recalls Bill's explanation about the territoriality of anacondas. However, he adds that during the mating season, males start to roam the forest in search of females, implying the presence of dozens of hungry snakes around them. Racing against time, the group continues the journey until they reach the village. But the place is empty, except for a dead anaconda with the body of a native inside. With the village abandoned and the boats taken by the natives in their escape, the only option is to build a raft. Collaborating, the survivors dismantle the indigenous huts and use the materials to build their own raft. While working, Jack interrupts his tasks to wash his face and finds an orchid. Enthusiastically, he shares it with Sam, realizing that the properties of the orchids are contributing to the increase in the size of the anacondas. Jack emphasizes the need to collect the orchids before they return home. However, the others disagree, trying to convince him to give up, including Mitchell. Nevertheless, Jack insists, resulting in a standoff between them, where Sam reveals that Jack offered over $50,000 to Bill to continue the expedition despite the risks, causing outrage in the group. Mitchell and the others refuse to collaborate with Jack, who angrily walks away, leaving them building the raft while he stays alone. After a night of work, the group finishes the raft and ties it in place, giving Mitchell time to go to the main cabin to tend to the injuries on his foot. While searching for medications, Mitchell finds Jack's backpack and discovers the spider in a jar but ignores it and continues the search. Further inside, he finds the box with John's gun and a still functional phone, getting furious that Jack did not share this information. Trying to call for emergency help, Jack appears, doing everything to convince him to continue searching for the orchids. But Mitchell refuses, and Jack insanely throws the spider on his arm, causing a painful bite. And while Mitchell screams in pain, Jack retrieves the phone and the pistol and leaves the cabin, leaving his former partner in the process of paralysis. Near the shore, the survivors prepare the raft when Jack arrives, asking them not to disturb Mitchell. However, Sam finds the attitude suspicious and decides to go to the cabin to check. There, she finds Mitchell already paralyzed and notices the bite mark on his arm. Unable to alert him, Mitchell, seeing the anaconda behind Sam, tries to use his eyes to warn her, but she doesn't understand, leaving the cabin to confront Jack. While Mitchell is alone with the creature, Sam accuses Jack and starts an argument, which only ends when they realize that the researcher is being devoured. They rush to the cabin to help, leaving Jack with the raft, providing the perfect opportunity for him to escape with the vessel. Unaware that Jack fled, the survivors set the cabin on fire to eliminate the snake and run back to the shore. But now, without the raft, and after burning the last structure, there is no alternative for the group but to pursue the unbalanced scientist and recover the vessel. Knowing the location he is heading to, Sam suggests cutting through the jungle and ambushing Jack while picking the orchids. However, the route is challenging. Passing through several snakes that try to separate them, and running from predators, they end up falling into a ravine where they find a den of one of the snakes. Attempting to escape the area, Cole gets separated from the group and discovers human skeletons. Tran returns to help him, but is pulled and devoured by the anaconda. Bill finds Cole, and the two narrowly escape the snake, which gets stuck in a hole. Sam decapitates the anaconda with a machete. However, while celebrating, another snake attacks Cole and drags him into the forest. The survivors arrive in time to see him being suffocated, but Bill throws his knife, impaling the snake's head and freeing the young man. A few minutes later, the group finds Jack and his raft. However, they are discovered, and Jack shoots Bill in the arm to prevent him from attacking, forcing the group to follow him to the orchids, which grow above a pit where the anacondas are mating. After knocking out Bill and tying up Cole, Jack forces Sam to cross the snake nest on a narrow trunk to fill a backpack with orchids. However, upon returning, the trunk breaks, and Jack orders her to throw the backpack to him, threatening to shoot the others. But Bill appears and surprises him with a punch to the back, causing the scientist to drop the backpack a few meters from the nest. While the others try to reach Sam, Jack attempts to retrieve the backpack. The previously used spider escapes and bites Jack, who falls into the pit and is devoured by the snakes. The trunk that Sam was on also breaks, and she falls into the snake nest but surprisingly manages to escape. However, one of the anacondas tries to attack Gale, who makes the snake bite a fuel canister, which Bill shoots, but the gun is empty. In the end, Cole fires a flare, igniting the anaconda and causing it to explode alongside the other anacondas, triggering a landslide that buries them all. After so much suffering, the survivors can finally take the raft and return home, safe and sound. Thus ends Anacondas, The Hunt for the Blood Orchid, the 2004 horror and adventure film. Tell us in the comments what you thought of the video or the name of any movie you'd like to see here. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave your like. This was Nerd Session, and I'll see you in the next video.